Hello. I am here. I have audio. I have a game. Welcome. Welcome to this week's Future Proof Plays. Today is a bit of a double header. Is that what they call it? I'm going to be playing Can Androids Pray first, which my understanding it's a very short game. And then I'm going to play Sundogs, which is I think, maybe less popular game about transhumanism. So, welcome. So I am Melissa. I'm one half of Future Proof Games. We're a two-person indie game dev studio. Gregory Avery Weir in chat is the other half of the company. Yeah, so let's rock and roll. The technical issues that I had thought I had sorted left me a little discombobulated. So we'll start playing, see what this is like. Can Androids Play? I'm playing the blue variation. There's also a red variation. And it's written by, I did not look up how to pronounce this person's name. This is Xavier Nelson and Natalie Clayton. And Nelson's name is on the blue one, and Clayton's name is on the red one. So I don't quite know how that got shaken out. Both games I'm playing today were in the bundle for Palestinian Aid. So if you bought that bundle, you have them. Can Androids Pray has probably been in all three of those big bundles. Okay, Variation Red was in the other one. So, as usual, I know very little about what this game is going to be. I put a content warning for suicide in the title. There's also religious themes and stuff like that, but I'm more worried about suicide. So we'll see. Let's rock and roll. The screen is black. Yeah, the voice is very quiet.
Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled.
They're basically whispering.
Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy.
Nudging the volume up a little more. I'm worried the game is going to be loud because the opening screen was loud.
And blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God.
Game by and Priscilla Snow, who I think did the music. Alright. Beatrice, your fuel line's cut, dumbass. Can androids pray? Fuck my giant metallic body. How can you tell? Fuck you. Fuck my giant metallic body. Even if we didn't have to worry about corrosive air, or not having supplies, or not having long-range comms, or not having shit fuck all when it comes to surviving past tomorrow, we're doomed. My arm servos are locked, Private. Judging from the condition of your mech, you aren't moving from that spot either. No matter what we do, or what we say, or what we want, your fuel tank's gonna blow us sky high. I see, there's a little button over here, or not a button, but detection of a leak. It'll happen just as the sun rises. Should be beautiful. Why did you chase it? The soldier, it's our job. Why call him an it? They could have been a her. I can't remember. I'm gonna step into this identity business. Why call him an it? They could have been a her. Beatrice says, okay. Interesting point. Why did you chase her into a series of blind corridors? You sent us after a 40 G9 buckshot hog in a frickin' canyon. The mech has buckshot in the name. What did you think would happen? I blame you. This is your fucking fault, Private. My name is Court. Fuck you. Oh, fuck you. My name is Court. Okay. This is your fucking fault, Court. I do not want to die. I really, really don't want to die. And if I was going to die anyway, I would have wanted to plan it. I would have eaten whatever I wanted. I would have tried one of those Vert classic programs instead of rewatching Mecha Mates. I would have tried reading at some point. Maybe not that last one. I am having trouble with my imminent death. The civility filter seems to be picking up on that. On the bright side, I guess it will go before we do. Shit. I'm sorry. Want to know something funny? I'm not sure I do. Yeah, what? Your little stunt saved our lives. Temporarily, but still. When you pulled me away from the engagement to chase that bastard, I saw something go off behind us. I didn't realize what it was until now. The Mercury Protectorate had a fucking anti-ferrous bomb. MP sacrificed every unit they had in that crater to wipe us out. Probably melted us inside our suits. As far as deaths go, this ain't gonna be so bad. I wonder if... No, none of these are buttons. Whoops. I think I accidentally selected a conversation option. I was trying to make one of these. Alright, well, at least we're taking one of those MP fucks with us. Good riddance. I'm not certain we did that. You know how chain of command works. When Captain Waranar went down, I had to pick up his... You know I asked for this detail? I volunteered to do something just once, and it kills me. Sure learned my lesson. I mean, fuck. Nobody thinks about the Mercury Protectorate. Command didn't project a single casualty. Vert networks were already fighting over the streaming rights. That's how much of a cakewalk this was supposed to be. We were supposed to stomp them. This sounds too familiar. MPs aren't supposed to have enhanced mechs. MPs aren't supposed to have giant-ass bombs. I guess they do now, though. Look at me. Can I look at you? Nope. Can't even move my arms. Clearly you can still chat. Hang in there. I mean, I can't move my arms either. Hang in there is funny. I mean, I can't move my arms either. I guess you could say we're harmless. Is that a pun? I'm gonna die with a harmless pun defiling my screen. Love it. No, but seriously, I dearly miss the ability to kill things. We can go back to the puns. I do not have a problem with that. Okay, just making sure that nothing here seems to be interactive on the screen. We really are going to die, you know. The air in this sector is toxic. Without fuel or battery packs, our life support is going to run out. Also, you're going to explode, so that's a problem. Oh shit. They used to call this planet Earth. I watched documentaries about it. The sunsets were supposed to be beautiful. Now there's all this stuff in the air. The colors and lights and stuff. It's to die for. Sounds nice. This doesn't have to be the end. There has to be something we can do. Or kind of overrated from where I'm sitting. This doesn't have to be the end. I admire your persistence. We are totally fucked, though. Sorry. Oh, okay. Do you ever think about God? Why do you ask? I think about God. A lot. I try not to, but I do. There's this person thing that can see everyone and everything. Made good and evil. Made the universe. Confusing. I keep thinking and trying to understand him, and it's... God is... What do you think God is like? Oh God, let's see. Does it matter? You can't see him. It doesn't matter. Does it matter? If you can't see him, if it doesn't bother to talk to you, let alone fix shit, why spend the effort? If God exists, then he's cool. I don't want any part of that heaven. Okay, I get where you're coming from. Here's the thing. I think God is terrifying. I'm used to being monitored and judged by people who don't give a fuck about me. We're in the military. We've still got it easy. Shit, the Venusian Confederacy is just 1984 with an anime mascot. I get out of it. What scares me about God, what keeps me up at night, is that God might care. That he's seeing all of this, all of me, and has feelings about it. About all of us. Feelings we can't even comprehend. A sentient mind that processes fucking everything and can do something about it and does do things maybe, but you can't tell when, or maybe you can, but you at night when I get out of vert, I look up at the stars and I hope whatever eyes or eye that God has squishes over me. I feel ashamed for feeling that way, but it's true. Stop looking at me. Stop feeling. Please. So there's no way out of this at all? You got it out of your system, you're done now. I think I know what you mean. I've got all these questions, you know? These nasty questions that just stick there. I'm not doing well, Courtney. When Captain Warrenar went down, I freaked out. He taught me everything I knew about surviving. Not boot camp bullshit. That's conditioning. I'm talking about the stuff that gets you through this life after an engagement's over. The day after day. I have to turn the audio down in my ears. loud. I'm also going to nudge it down a little bit there. Okay. The stuff you use to help others do it, too. I couldn't believe that he was gone. And once I got to his body, I froze because I went through Cap's data log. It wasn't chain of command. I wanted something to remember him by. But I ended up finding, fuck it. I've got some existentially terrifying news. How do you want to hear this? Soon, ideally. What do you mean? Like good news first or something like that? Just be honest with me. Soon, ideally. Courtney, I think I know why we didn't really talk before this. You're an ass. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck off, you dying conversation log. I'm just gonna go with it. Fuck you. Okay, you know what? The reason most people spend all their time in Vert is because for every 1,000 soldiers deployed, 7 are physical people. That's just enough free thought to keep any data processing centers from identifying attack patterns and slaughtering everything, while risking as few important lives as possible. Flesh and blood are scattered at random. So there's a good chance you aren't even real. There's a good chance everyone you've ever known and loved is a fucking simulation. There's a 1 in 43 chance that your life is a lie, and a 0% chance that anyone gives a shit. I feel like Beatrice gives a shit. There. Take your soon and shove it. I mean, I knew I had to be a synthetic being, given the name of the game. Holy shit, what does that mean for us? You can't be right, you must be misinterpreting. What does that mean for us? It means there's no way to tell what we are without dying in the process. If we open our airlocks, we die. If we don't, well, we'll die. But we'll die without knowing what we are. It brings up nasty questions I thought I'd solved. Yes, there is another one here. I'm not crazy, even if some of our conversations suggested otherwise. I'm not crazy or irrational for thinking that something exists beyond myself, but I can't see or fully comprehend. There's also stuff off in the distance here. Look at that sky. Just fucking look at it. I saw how small I am in this universe and thought, something has to fill all that empty space. Someone has to care about us. I do believe that, but now I'm looking up, and when we thumped there, in what is basically our graves, I had one thought in my head. Can God hear circuits? It sounds pretty pretentious and absurd, but I thought that. I felt tears on my cheeks and wondered if they were real. I just murdered a man or a machine or something. And I'm crashing here next to his flaming corpse, wondering if God listens to computers. Or does he just drown out the buzzing? So Arrow is presumably the enemy that they chased around the blind corridors. Where's this going? You're right, you do sound crazy. Let's say God isn't listening. Let's say God isn't listening. Isn't that what you wanted? You can still be happy if he doesn't hear you. No, Courtney. I don't think I can. I'm opening my airlock when the sun rises. Y'all will know the sky is getting light. I'm going to know. For once, I'm going to know something. Will you join me? I really don't want to be alone for this. Okay. So, okay, let's do it. I can't do that, Beatrice. I'm gonna go with the wait. Fuck all this. Being an AI doesn't make you any less real than someone with a body. This doesn't matter. It matters to me. That's it. I'm sorry. I don't have a better answer for you. To me, this matters. You know, I don't think God can love everyone. If he did, it wouldn't mean anything. You know you love something because you know what hate is, and fear. And love isn't any of those things. If he feels, if he's truly anything like us, he holds grudges. He changes his decisions. He can take things too far, or not far enough. I guess that's what I'm banking on. That some part of God is just vicious and petty and eccentric and short-sighted enough that he can understand us. Even if we aren't human. I believe he's better. Last chance, Courtney. Oh. Is this actually the last chance? My options are, I'm in, you can't do this, it's fucking suicide, or I think I'm gonna leave this alone. I think I'm gonna leave this alone. Oh, there it is. The sun. Of the little bits and pieces of the Bible I read, there was this one part that always stuck out to me. It was about this guy named Moses. He was a prophet, a leader. Him and God were on really good terms, apparently. But when he asked to see God's face, God said he couldn't. God said if someone looked at him directly, they would die. We are already dead, Courtney. I'm not committing suicide. I really don't believe I am. I'm going to see him, Courtney. I'm going to see God's face, and I'm going to find out if he loves me. Right. It's beautiful. Oh. That is a body. A human. A non-AI entity. Okay, well, this is a choice. I mean, ultimately the same choice. Well, damn, now I'm curious. I'm gonna open the airlock. Ellipses, more ellipses. Oh. Well. Hello. So, that is about how I expected that to go, once I saw what it was doing. It, of course, reminds me of everything from that loose car game. You're sitting on the edge of a cliff in a car talking to a buck or whatever. Or the subsurface games, Circular and the other one. Any of these sorts of chatty games that end in a mystery or a lot of unanswered things. Or some answers. I like it. It's interesting. It was much more far from noise. Thank you. It's also a lovely game. If you haven't played that, it's absolutely worth playing. Huh. Alright. Can androids pray? I don't know if the red version is different than the blue version. I don't know if it's just a color switch. I picked blue because blue is easier on my eyes. That's about all. But it could be. I mean, it could be the characters are swapped, right? Who knows? I guess we could find out. I own it. But, okay. Can androids pray? I don't have anything deep to say about it at the moment. So, I'm going to pause and switch to Sundogs, which I don't think had content warnings. So, we're free of those for the time being. So, give me about a minute to get that sorted, and I'll be back. All right. That was quick and easy. We are back. We are now playing Sundogs, which is a text adventure, text game, put out by their Itch. Itch is under an organization called Royal Dragon, but Nick Tringali, Rebecca McCarthy, and Sassa P. So, small team. Let's see how this goes. Have some tea. Actually, before we start, but first, something really cool is happening, and that is that people are starting to speedrun Ossuary. I think Greg might have mentioned it in their stream a couple weeks ago, but I think there are multiple people doing it. One person went and set up a whole bunch of sort of categories, and either my little auto Nightbot thing will link to it, or Greg can do so if they wish. But it's really cool to see that like folks are like actively playing and are digging into the nitty gritty of Ossuary, a game that came out in 2012? 2013? A long time ago. And didn't hit Steam until 2015. So it's an old game, and an old tech, but folks are speedrunning it. So that's fucking cool. So go watch those, I guess. Enjoy. I've only watched a couple. There were more when I brought up the link this afternoon that I hadn't seen, so that's cool. So let's start Sundogs. So, soul. Humanity has spread across the system, where we could not bend the environment. Oh, game music is high for my voice. Let's bring that puppy down. Let me know if that is good or bad. Where we could not bend the environment to our will, we changed our bodies to suit it. We are no longer born and do not die. Identity became fluid, flesh became alien. We are something beyond human. What is my moniker? I think I'll keep it simple. Do Lissa. Ooh, this is a low contrast set of text. It's probably not great on stream. Okay, so we've zoomed into something solar system. We've zoomed into a model of the solar system. I have mind actions, body actions, and tools, which I don't have. We're in a tutorial. Okay. Your eyes snap open as you feel the cold rush of air fill your lungs. The revival facility is lit dimly to not surprise you. A doctor presses a metallic hand to your shoulder, keeping you still. How much do you remember? Oh, this is great! Do you remember nothing or enough? Ah, that's great. I remember nothing. That's sorry, that shouldn't be so clever, but I like it. Welcome to Sundogs. On the left of the screen is your inventory, a collection of skills you know, your body and its modifications, and any items you carry. On the right of your screen are your actions. Use these to interact with the world and the text within it. To move around the world, click on a planet that is connected to the one you're orbiting, or on another location orbiting nearby. Use the scroll wheel of your mouse to zoom in and out. Progress is automatically saved. You get a wire from one of your algorithms. There is consistent talk of a new species in lower Venusian atmosphere. If you're passing through Avicenna, you could go look at it yourself. Okay, so this is Luna. Travel to Imbrium substation. There's a flotilla. Is there a way to bump the contrast on this text? No. Okay. Let's zoom out. Can I move things? No. Okay, so there's... okay. Can I keep zooming? Jupiter, Saturn... There's nothing further out that I can get to. Mars, Eros... Huh. There's no panning. Like, I can't make the screen move. Okay. Let's go to Venus. Venus. 117 days. So there's a traffic layer, 30L, Avicenna, travel to centrifuge RO. Let's go to Avicenna. Traveling. Okay. Let's see what my missions are. Investigate a new species. So, let's explore. You find a pilot to take you down deep into the cloud layer. It's unusual to travel in such a solid craft, but the Venusian atmosphere is unforgiving. You monitor some view screens that are scanning wide EM bands. After a while, you get a return blip, motion in the distance. You move over closer to it, and an image resolves of a huge swirling mass of tendrils moving around a central body in a convection pattern. It's moving quite slowly, and you cannot see how it gains energy. You briefly consider bringing one to the surface, but it is far too massive for this single craft. You document it as much as you can and return to the surface. Huh. I now have animal handling as a mind skill. Okay. Do I explore some more? Your arrival in the capital is anticipated, and you are contacted by one of the sub-oligarchs to assist in some negotiations with another aerostat. I'll agree. The negotiations are long and complex, but by the end of it, you are compensated handsomely, and you go along your way. Okay. That did not gain me an additional skill. What is upload? You store your mind at the facilities here. If you die, a new body will be provided to you here. Okay. Info. Largest aerostat in the inhabited Venusian cloud layer, Avicenna is the center of political and social power for Venus and its immediate surroundings. Many different factions and corps are based in various form here, so the climate can become very volatile. It is the slowest moving aerostat, and it is almost at a standstill relative to other habitats in the cloud layer. Alright, let's go to 30L. The original serial code for 30L was STAT 30L98K, but this was quickly dropped in favor of a more flowing name. With a super rotation of around 4 days, 30L is a mid-sized and fairly uneventful place for a Venusian aerostat city. The ground shudders violently like an earthquake that just shook the floating city. A ripping noise, louder than thunder, shakes the building around you. Things fall to the floor and shatter, but the noise subsides. You take 2 steps forward when your body is suddenly flattened to the ground as the whole city jumps into the air several meters. Concussed, you can barely keep your eyes open as you watch the sky open before you. Close your eyes. You wake up with a start, grasping for recognition, and realize you're in a revival facility. You remember the date, but your memories are outdated by weeks or perhaps months. A new sleeve feels different, and you cannot move with precision yet. An automated feed gets you up to date on major events, but the feeling of disconnect will last a while. Super rotation is when a planet's atmosphere rotates faster than the surface. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so my mission is to take the data to the library on Vesta. Where is... And I guess Vesta's a little place. It's there. So, I'm gonna have to hop my way there. Let's go to Earth. Earth, 126 days. Let's go out to Eros. 148 days. There's not much here. During the expansion, the small near-Earth asteroid was quickly hollowed out and spun by the... I do not read... whichever language this is. It's served many small purposes since. Since the third closure event, it has been largely abandoned or left to smaller groups in the belt negotiating for its use. explored a little bit, you look at the forest around and above you to a small pond at the far side of the asteroid. You ping for a potential net just to be sure, and nothing responds. Okay. We are connected to several places. Where did Vesta go? Mars. It's not going to only show places I'm connected to. Hellas. There it is. Vesta, 253 days. I don't know if if those chunks of time are like the total time that I've been in the game or that I've been awake or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, if it's 250 some odd days since waking, or if each leg of the travel is taking that amount of time. Is the map useful? Well, I still can't slide it around, so sort of. There is nothing past Saturn. I'm concerned. Snowman? Tell me about Snowman. For a long time, Vesta was isolated. Only obvious heat emissions and other signs of activity gave off any form of life. Memory of its original colonization has slipped away, and no one knows who or what controls it now. Well, I'm here. Let's find out. Arriving at the library, you signal for a librarian. It comes scuttling over, thin metallic legs grasping tiny handholds along the floor. You transfer the data of the new Venusian animals into the atmosphere and watch it consume it greedily. The librarian moves off, and you watch it wrap itself around a tower and feed the new data into it. Let's explore again. The interior light casts soft shadows around a group of librarians playing at the root of a massive redwood. So they have towers, they have redwoods, they can put information into the air to be consumed. Okay. I have no active missions. So I can see a log of previous things. That's cool. Well, I'm not connected to Jupiter. That reads like a barrier. This is my mouse. My mouse is visible. Let's go to Ceres. It's about twice as far from the sun as Saturn. Is it really that far? Okay, yeah, that does make sense. Station 1. The largest asteroid in the belt is Dwarf Planet. It makes up a considerable amount of the belt's mass. One of the original something worlds, it had a relatively stable position as a physical and economic midpoint between Jupiter and the inner system. Since the Jovian Civil Wars, its role has also expanded into a defensive staging area for various interested parties. You drift over the dark stripes in the Ceres surface to the entrance of a habitat. You see a crawler churning through rock as it makes its slow way across the surface. I just noticed I lost a skill, and I don't remember which one it was. Also, I think my body skills changed when I came back to life, because they mentioned a sleeve when I came back. So let's explore again. The station's halls are cramped and Spartan. the largest allowing for only a few average sleeves to fit side by side. You slowly pull yourself up a shaft, pausing constantly for others to enter or exit ahead of you. Am I just a worm? It sounds like talk of sleeves, cortical stack. This sounds like I don't know. The habitat rumbles with the explosion of a mine below you. Okay, well, let's. What are you? So if I go to map. Okay. Map travels me there. Alright, so now I'm at Palace. It doesn't look like. Okay, I should have checked this before. It looks like I must be at nodes that are around. There's no like Palace node itself, it seems. So I stay on the little floaty things. I didn't look at the info. Explore. So, a wave of stillness passes over the dozens of pods floating around the interstellar construction. Warnings blink on as you see it. The Jovian Raider only a few million kilometers away. Minutes pass in total silence, except for warnings broadcast by Palace traffic control before the Raider destabilizes its orbit and drifts away. Originally the long-term headquarters of the Penim civility, Palace later changed through several Martian hypercorps, spending each decade providing one useful function or another. It has always been a useful location to hide some more damaging or experimental projects of its owners. You watch an ancient antimatter centrifuge emerge from the surface. Huge clouds of dust and rock shoot out into the vacuum as the giant ring is edged closer to the interstellar in construction. What the fuck? Okay. So I've been there. Let's go to Hygeia. 416 days. I think that time is each leg of travel. Hygeia is generally least populated of the large asteroids and has spent long stretches of time completely abandoned. It was for a long time a Jovian outpost, but since the war they have retreated from it. You glide effortlessly around the base, floating above the small crowds around you. A few others also jump from wall to wall, but the rest pull themselves along handholds and cables. A cowboy sells you a cold decryptor, and you carefully store the physical device close to your sleeve. I definitely think I'm a worm, or other slithering type of. I think I am a sleeve. I think my body is a sleeve. A pair of sleeves floats past you, both wrapped in thick combat armor. The dense fibers gleam in the soft interior lighting. This kind of makes me want to do something to be revived so that I can see what different kinds of bodies I can have. Okay. I assume something will be clear when it's giving me a mission, but dozens of arms tied to a pole float around each other, fingers waving limply. Made of crude fab metal, they are rather uninspiring but nearly indestructible. The seller leers at you with pointed teeth and small eyes. You turn back to face the market. It's a good point. Let's upload. Oh, this place does not have the facilities to store your mind. Visit Abyssinia, or Luna, Mars, or Ceres. Okay. Let's go to Mars. 132 days. So there's Deimos, there's Elevator, Phobos, Organelle, Olympus. Okay. A stationary orbital platform connected to the Martian surface below. The elevator was built and maintained by the dozens of primary groups of corporations that operate in the region. A trip to or from the surface only takes about an hour, and the entire system moves thousands of people and cargo daily. Let's explore. You see a squad of defensive pods from the elevator shoot out to a very high orbit, likely in response to some Jovian activity nearby. Let's go to... Wow, okay, so we're going to Deimos. This is a fun path. Deimos is the smaller natural Martian satellite with an orbit distant from Mars. What happens here is a mystery, and you have never read any information or met anyone that seems to have gone inside. The exterior has been untouched for centuries, and emissions are rarely seen leaving it. Oh, let's explore. The noise of traffic below you calms a bit near Deimos, but the moon itself is silent. You approach Deimos, but there are no surface lights and no common transmissions being broadcast. You receive an automated beam from an unidentified source directing you to adjust your trajectory away from the moon. Your pod complies and Mars grows larger in your view. I did not upload it, Mars. I should have. Did they say... I think they said Olympus. Look at this little travel pattern. You visit a revival facility and copy off your cortical stack. If you die, you'll be resurrected here with your memories intact, except for any memories you did not save. This is great. This good little swirl. I might go back out to Deimos and press, though. Named after one of the corporations that built it, Organelle Orbiting Commonwealth is a large-scale residential Dyson cylinder. The uncapped cylinder is divided in half, each section rotating in opposite directions, providing stable gravity within it. Multiple levels allow for different strengths of gravity, providing different habitats for those who live here. As usual for reading heavy streams, I've got a pot of tea. Herbal, so that I don't jitter my way off of stream. But soothing to the throat. You request to dock and are quickly denied to your surprise. A short conversation reveals some sort of internal issue, but you manage to convince the person you're communicating with to let you through anyway. I wonder if this is due to my diplomacy. Your pod closes the delta of the orbital's rotation, and you settle into a small pressurized docking bay. Without an umbilical, you step out of your pod and immediately into the orbital's hangar. On infrared, the dark side of the orbital is hot as it dumps heat into vacuum. Each of the window and mirror strips is like a bright bar against dark surface. Walking down the street, and you are met with a procession of small elephants, a dozen in total. You watch them as they disappear around a corner down the road. Yeah, a sleeve might just be a body. Yeah. Maybe it's considered a covering for your cortical stack or something, and so it's just a sleeve. From this distance out in space, you can only make out patches of green and blue inside the orbital. Okay, let's go back out to Deimos. Oh, hey, there's Nightbot. Hello. Noise of traffic below. So is this sequence going to start over again? Let's see. A burst of radiation is emitted from Deimos, and you can feel others in the area turn their attention in its direction. Nothing follows it, so everyone returns to their business. You approach Deimos, but there are no surface lights. This is getting directed away. You feel some strange emission patterns from Deimos, but there's no way to investigate further. Uh-oh. A burst of numbers is transmitted from Deimos. 1525181521383349. It repeats itself 3 more times and falls silent. Okay. I'm not going to dig into this deeply. +4, +3, 3. No. Okay. -4. That's symmetrical. That's not. Okay. Nothing super quick jumps out. Okay. Near Deimos, you spot some emissions fitting the pattern of a cloaked vessel scrubbing waste heat. Only lasting for a few seconds, you follow the source until it is obscured by Deimos itself. No missions. Find nothing else of interest around here. Okay. So I've gotten all the things. The numbers don't seem to be indexing Latin characters. Okay. Is there anything else here? You pass by a resting station for some microlights, freely available to the inhabitants to go exploring the orbitals. I'm gonna take a microlight. Oh, I also have a tool, cold decryptor. That's right. You are greatly accelerated and begin to soar above the inner surface of the cylinder. You guide yourself to the beach and spend a few minutes later touch down on the white sand. The microlight collapses easily and you deposit it with a nearby resting station. The beach itself is lovely, sand made of perfect silicate particles and exceptionally clear water. Over the fake horizon looms Mars, the ice cap bright in the sun. You are walking along a quiet street when a growing noise of crowd attracts you. You turn a corner to see a street festival open up in front of you. A huge variety of food and drink, local artists displaying works, and music filling the air. There are a few children, all running around excitedly. Let's explore the festival. An artist is displaying some living glass samples. Floating at eye level, swirls of colored glass shift before you. In one, some orange fish dive back and forth. Your pod closes the delta of the orbital's rotation, okay, and you settle into a small pressurized docking bay with an umbilical. You step out, without an umbilical, you step out of your pod and immediately into the orbital's hangar. The slave clinics here are tightly controlled by the managing subcorporation of the orbital, and so the options available to you are limited. You opt for a small VR link that should be universal for most net systems. The device is smaller than a finger and embedded in your shoulder. So I have shoulders. And I know what fingers are. Travel to Phobos. Phobos is the largest natural Martian satellite, home to a small community of colonists, miners, and traders. With such a weak gravitational pull, the layout of the facilities mirror those found in the belt, with the exception of a large surface dome to view Mars and the surrounding regions. Your link can connect straight into the Phobos net, and your view of the real world melts away into a standard artificial one, a sunlit plaza filled with birds and clouds. The buildings are all in the same place, and there's similar gravity, but the effect is powerful. There are many more people in the common area here, using a variety of avatars and representations for themselves. Oh, no more explore options. What is this game? What is this game? Alright, we read that. A light snow begins to fall from the spherical clouds suspended in the center of the habitat. Large snowflakes touch your skin and melt into water, droplets rolling off of you. You find one of the sun panels, a tower a dozen meters high, casting light into the low hills above you. A bird circles high above you, set against one of the sunlights. A streamlined shape drifts into view. From one side, a light blue stream of crystals trails after it. You're sure this creature's alive, and it's injured. You move closer, and several dark protrusions reach out for you. Hazy images flood your mind, and you can feel an aching emptiness. Ahead of you is a large green crystal beating slowly. It shatters, and blurry figures move at double speed, carrying the pieces away. Its heart has been stolen, and this was a cry for help. You can sense the fragility of it and suspect it will be kept in the belt. I guess I'm accepting the offer to help, or the cry for help. You feel intense gratitude from the creature, then a pang of sadness. Unless you can retrieve its heart, it does not have long to live. You take a reading. The thief should be easily tracked if you come into range of it. I now have a mission. But I need to upload my brain. Mars. Yeah. So I have a direct VR link on my body now. The one that went into my shoulder. Okay, so now I've saved my brain. The game auto-saved, but I mean, I guess I look around for a little bit. Okay, so consensus, this game does not have a central goal or authored storyline per se. Okay, that's good. And yes, I was worried that I had done something out of sync once. There was no clear, like, you're done with the tutorial indicator. So. You link up to the net and wait as your vision fades to a stark white as elements load into place. The net here is like floating in an infinite space filled with stars, each of them a node of information or private room or public facility. There are billions of them, each person creating their own node once they connect. Your overlay places a small point on Phobos as it goes below the horizon, but on a busy street in the middle of the day, you had no chance of seeing it directly anyway. Well, let's go to Phobos. We've read this one before. Buildings are all in the same place, etc. Oh, and there's nothing. Okay. I wonder if these motherfuckers are at Demos. Denied. Nothing. Alright. Oops. You feel some strange emission patterns. Okay. Oh, search the asteroid belt. I missed the specificity there. Okay. You glide effortlessly around the base, floating above the small crowds around you. A few others also jump from wall to wall, but the rest pull themselves along handholds and cables. Okay. So the information window is closing. I'm getting fewer explore options, which is interesting that it's not just going to repeat everything over and over again. Um, okay. On the surface of Pallas itself, you find some old net ports wired into the infrastructure of the habitat. You examine the port, but its design is not the kind you're familiar with. After some tinkering, you determine the power source has been disconnected somewhere else. Okay. One of the inhabitants here seems to be responsible for maintaining all the sleeves, and expresses some worry that your sleeve is not properly shielded against electrical shocks. They offer to modify your sleeve accordingly. Why, yes, thank you, kind inhabitant. The surgeon begins by inserting small filaments just under the surface of your sleeve, forming a thin network encasing your body. You feel a bit stiff for some time, but the sensation soon passes. And now I have electric shielding. I picked back up. That's the skill I lost. I lost the interfacing skill, and it seems to be back. I don't know if that's courtesy of one of the VR connections I made, maybe? Each of the inhabitants here seems to be in the exact same sleeve, but all behave slightly different. None respond with conviction when you ask about their origin or nature. The interior of the station has a tangy metallic smell, distracting you from the scene of two dancers twirling in front of you. They look exactly the same, hairless with dark brown skin, same as everyone else. So it's not clear to me from like a UI perspective or maybe just a design perspective whether something about the mission is going to be the forefront item I get when I do an explore somewhere. It was for the tutorial, I think. But will I need to flip through all the explore options before it's like, hey, we found the murderers, or the thieves? You find large digital storage banks hidden deep in the asteroid, presumably housing what used to be the net of the previous inhabitants. With all this storage, you presume that it was quite large or detailed. I keep trying to slide the screen. Have I gone back to Vesta? I don't think I've gone back to Vesta. I like that node is called Snowman. Aha, maybe? You observe a stream of blue crystalline structures around the asteroid. Your sensors confirm that part of the injured giant must have passed nearby. Examining the scene closer, it appears that two ships met here. One must have traveled from the same direction you did, which is everywhere. The other must have traveled further along the belt. At the base of one of the extended columns of liquid, you are surprised to find a common interface port. You plug in, but there's only empty signal. Okay. So from Ceres to Vesta, what is further along the asteroid belt mean in this case? Let's revisit. The rogue space station is drifting listlessly through space near Hygeia, and there seem to be no signs of life, except for the pulsing signature of the heart inside. The heart can't be moved while the bulk of the station is attached to it, and you will have to go inside to remove it. Snowman on Vesta is a real series of craters shaped like a snowman. Oh, that's cool. You dock with the station and enter into the decaying interior. The heart is pulsing before you, crystalline structures reforming. If there was an atmosphere in here, you would undoubtedly hear it shriek and grind against itself. You set about removing the structures holding it in place as its frantic motions begin tearing the rest apart. You capture it with your pod and are set to return to Eros. Let's return to Eros. Oh, come on. There's Eros. Returning to the creature, you can see it moving slowly, Eros only a bright point of light in the distance. You release the heart and the creature lumbers forward, the massive cavity in its chest shredding dead flesh as it moves toward the shedding dead flesh as it moves toward the heart. You feel an intense wave of pain emanate from the creature, but at the edges a sense of gratitude. You watch as the creature's flesh closes around the heart and it moves away again. It moves away with great speed. I'm curious whether that entity is, or had been, human. Let's go to Earth. Earth. Oh, debris fields. Oh, you can land. Ocean. The moon has that substation and a flotilla. Okay, let's look at this debris field. Out in L1 space are the old solar shields, still reflecting the sunlight away from Earth. Huh. You see a small explosion in the distance, a harvester launching itself on a lunar intercept trajectory. On the night side of Earth, you look down and easily count the points of light on the surface. Oof. I forgot to check info. Perhaps the most dangerous orbital region in the system, Earth's orbit is filled with centuries of humanity left to decay. Oh shit. You pass by a small can habitat, not even a kilometer in diameter. It spins quickly with a slight wobble. Let's travel to land. The last shreds of land on the surface of Earth, a scorched and barren surface, but not completely uninhabitable or inhospitable. Exploring a ruined city, you find a perfectly preserved book sitting on a plain table. You approach it and see there's no title. Let's open it. You open the book and the first page is blank. You begin to flip through it and every single page is blank. Confused, you shut it. The instant the book closes, the world goes white. Motherfucker. You hear distant humming and soft vibration before you open your eyes and see the familiar layout of a revival facility. You feel around inside your new sleeve, okay, resisting any sudden movements. The automated news update begins playing and you almost turn it off before you stop suddenly. There's something you recognize. An event, a minor one even. You're certain you remembered happening even though you were dead at the time. You feel your blood pumping inside your new body and take some deep breaths to calm down. There's nothing to do at the exact moment, but you need to find out more. I feel like I go back to Earth, right? And back to land. Although, okay, so the info hasn't changed. Let's explore. You see a city in the distance, warped and mutated, stricken by some hopefully dead nanophage. The skyscrapers bend and flex into impossible shapes. Some split into tree like structures that curve back into the ground like a root network. You pass by another spaceport, the raised pads surrounded by pools of murky water and a nearby observation tower. Let's sit down. You sit down near the tower and wander inside. The old-fashioned decks are almost amusing, with blinds to screen out the sun and various viewing monitors. As you pass by one of the monitors, it winks on. You stop at it, begin poking around. The internal system seems to be waiting for a new launch, but you manage to bypass that and discover a series of other programs stored. Tower energy supply, launch history, remote vehicle control, passenger databases, weather forecasting, solar weather tracking, and many others. You spend some time exploring each of these and how they connect with each other, and store a copy of the systems for further study. Okay. I acquired the programming mental skill. So, I'm interested in the idea of transhumanism as it relates to this game, because that's sort of one of its, tags. There are things about transhumanism that I don't know. I wouldn't call myself, someone who keeps up with the state of transhumanism discourse. I think I would expect maybe more focus on these shifts in body that seem to be happening, or maybe aren't happening, or a difference in experience based on what body you're inhabiting or what iteration of your body you're inhabiting. And there's sort of a reset button happening here, right? I lost my VR link, I lost all sorts of things and kind of reset to some default skills here. But curious what this game is saying. You follow a ridge for some time before dipping down into the crater. The other side is beyond the horizon, and you wonder what used to be here. A small crater, less than a kilometer long, filled out by a forest. Let's go to the ocean. A single worldwide ocean, infinite and unbounded. The cradle for whatever will survive the new Earth. You see a pyramidal arcology on the horizon with dozens of levels and support structures. The whole structure is several kilometers on one side, but the lowest level is a nest of ballast and flotation tanks, and a deep scan reveals an even larger structure floating beneath the surface. You see no signs of habitation as you do a slow pass around it, though there's no physical damage to the outside. Let's explore it. You land at a small platform near the water's edge. Looking down into the ocean, you can see the faint outline of structures beneath the foggy water. This level of the arcology is the most ruined, being close to the ocean and elements. Much of the old metal is rusted away, and you take care not to collapse anything. Looking up the central tower to the higher residential sections, you can see it's still in good shape. None of the lifts are working, however, and you have no way to access them from the outside. Let's go lower. Submerged levels of the arcology are filled with towering machinery, pumps and ballast, and support structures. Much of it is flooded, and there are a variety of plants and some small animals living inside. Let's examine the plants. The plant life growing around the machinery are mostly weeds and vines that have attached themselves to the metallic structures. Their leaves are stiff and translucent, with a faint blue color to them. The stalks shimmer as you walk around them, and their makeup heavily influenced by the surrounding of rusted metal and oil. Looking into the water, you cannot see any of the animals you glimpsed before, so you return to the surface. You see a clump of old ships lashed together, drifting out in the open ocean. Many of the ships are listing, supported by an old-fashioned carrier in the center. Let's go back to the debris fields. You see a hollow, transparent sphere in the distance. As you approach it, you see it's made of debris from the orbit surrounding it. You see another one of those debris spheres, but an older one, distorted and being slowly pulled apart by gravity. It's kind of cool. A squad of fabricators sweeps beneath you, extruding low albedo material into thin, soft rings around the planet. Most of these were shut down years ago, one of many attempts to give Earth rings. It's wild. Alright, so we are at a flotilla around the moon. Some ships in the flotilla are centuries old, and there are parts of others even older. And Jiro is home to some of the oldest humans in the system, simply having the luxury of being the longest running habitat in the system. The flotilla itself doesn't have a defined area, but it's a collection of nearby crafts to a main nucleus, and has nothing resembling a leader or governing body. This is reminiscent of our home Rosette diceless game, in which there's we don't use the word flotilla, it's a little militaristic in my head, I think, but a big sort of collection, gaggle of a variety of alien ships floating out in the solar system, notable for not having a specific leader, sort of. You see a gently rotating mass nearby, shredded metal, twisted and split apart, abandoned. Eventually, a disassembler swarm will reach it. Let's look at the Embryum substation. Some of the lunar farms are more traditional, the residents growing actual organisms to consume directly or combined with synthetic meats. These farms are much smaller than the usual drip cylinders that accumulate pliable organic material for later reassembly. At a farm far from the city, a farmer shows you some of the congealed organic matter that is growing in the fields below you. The matter is moist, dark, dirt brown with flecks of white and green, and has a musky smell. Take the organic matter. Okay. So there was nothing on Earth leading back to that book. That killed me. But I do feel like I should upload myself. Didn't actually mean to go there. I think it's the substation that has the upload. Oh. Nope. It's the flotilla. I wonder if these are the correct directions to travel between locations around a planet. Like, I wonder if that is being done. Okay, so my brain, my cortical stack is uploaded. I don't think I've been to Mercury. There's a lighthouse and a refinery, I'm gonna guess. Previously known as the Trans-Solar Holdings Orbital M141 Voynich class, the lighthouse is an independent state that controls the majority of the mass drivers and solar shields in Mercury orbit. It has become the center of Mercurian activities. An automated tug is fitting a new shipment into one of the orbital mass drivers. Let's examine the mass driver. You can interface with the mass driver, but even with your skills, you cannot access or alter the programming within. the mass drivers can easily become a powerful weapon, so the control programs are closely guarded. You watch the rhythm of the orbital mass drivers pushing cargo into the system. A corona diver rides a sunbird in the distance, dipping around the structure of the orbital and the thin cables holding the sail clusters. The Grupo Exterior Kenich Refineria, 10,088 or .A is the primary roving surface refinery and support station for most operations on Mercury. Powered by internal and external sources, it maintains a steady pace on Mercury's terminator, as well as providing a consistent hub for harvesters operating along the equator. The habitat has a surgeon's car on it, outfitted for minor additions and updates to sleeve. They offer to install an AR filter along your optic nerves. Why, sure. The process only takes an hour and the filter is installed. You preview it in the surgery room, and watching the fake plants melt away as you talk over the filter. On the news feeds is a holo of another sabotage attempt on the refinery. An automated miner explodes as it nears the refinery, but does not seriously damage it. I'm going to watch the repairs. The damaged section of the refinery is raised off the tracks and supported by the surrounding cars. The deep channel the refinery runs in is exposed, a large cut in the surface of Mercury, a dozen meters deep. Can I go to the... I cannot go to the sun. I'm not sure what else I want to do in this game. I mean, Jupiter seems off limits. There's some mystery involving the news, events in the news. I don't think I traveled to Centrifuge RO. A Rosetta-class orbital that is one of the oldest structures outside of Earth-lunar space. Centrifuge RO, R0, is the primary industrial and receiving facility for the Venusian space. It can house several million humans, sleeves, and AI. It is also one of the largest constructs in the inner system. However, on average, only 1/3 of it is inhabited. Okay, so they are making a distinction here between human sleeves and AI. A thin strand of shifting violet and ultraviolet detaches itself from the orbital and begins coiling up. An info node tells you it's a sentient tendril, though this species is adapted for vacuum. As you watch, it uncoils fully and waits as the orbital rotates beneath before reattaching and winding back up. 2 interstellar generation ships prepare for launch, their shadows covering the entire diameter of the station. With small chemical engines and the help of several tugs, the giants begin drifting away. In a few million kilometers, they will activate their primary engines and leave the system entirely. I'll watch them leave. I'm not sure that there's anything else I want to do in the game. I think I don't have enough of a sense of how to dig up something to sink my teeth into to be particularly interested in doing a lot more. I went there. So I could hop back to Eris. During the internal night cycle, the sun panels darken, but no starlight shines into space. Oh, like just cracking open some XML or JSON or whatever. That's pretty cool. What I want to do is to try to get to Jupiter. But, I mean, visually, it's very clear that that's not possible. Also, the only thing that would go out that far to be adjacent is where I am now, Palace. And it's not. Yeah, and it sounds like, I mean, they kind of talked uh, as if the Civil War was done, but they've also talked about there still being kind of activity threatening. Okay. So I might call this done for the afternoon, which makes for a shorter stream than I thought it would be. But c'est la vie. So this game has been Sundogs. There are presumably some depths that I did not manage to find and reach. But yeah, Sundogs developed by Royal Dragon, or published by Royal Dragon. That's the name on Twitch. But Nick Tringali, Rebecca McCarthy, and Sasa P. Just sort of a slow-paced, chill little exploration game. It's interesting. I like this sort of style of art, this very like abstracted style with the arcs, and it like the simplicity of this makes me think of like I'm gonna say Mini Metro, right? The game where you're making kind of metro pathing. That sort of style I think is cool. I wish there were some accessibility options for changing contrast of text, to let me have darker text. But I think it's cool. I think it's pretty. I also wish I could pan on the map, slide around. But cool game, interesting. I think it's on. I bought it, or I acquired it on itch. It was in one of the bundles, probably the most recent. I haven't been doing like a methodical search to find games I want to play. I think Gregory has been doing that more than I have, but I'm definitely pulling from those bundles for my next future-proof plays for a while. Our next future-proof play should be in 2 weeks. Gregory, have you picked a game? Because I don't think you have. If you have, holla in chat. All of our streams get archived up on YouTube, so this one will probably be up in the next day or two of both games. And on sort of the development front, or our sort of work, we've mentioned that there are speed runs of Ossuary happening. Some folks are diving into the depths. I hope they find some sort of like broken thing, or some little trick or whatever to, I don't know what will be in there. It feels like it's a relatively simple game, but that might mean there's more breakability there. So over on speedrun.com, you can look for Ossuary and watch those videos. They're short. Turns out you can finish Ossuary in 5 minutes. Well, not 100%, but so that's good stuff. Development-wise, we are, I ended up consumed by tax season, and I feel like, whew, I'm finally kind of coming out of that, as well as some personal woes. Um, but we are working on Exploit Zero Day, doing feature enhancements, doing some development. We also did an update to Ossuary recently, a bug fix, which may be part of why that it has gotten some more interest recently. So if you own Ossuary and have not pulled an update recently, or you don't own it on Steam and you're playing it on Itch or Humble or one of the other platforms, you'll need to go and download the update. It includes a fix for slowness while walking diagonally, like a drop in frame rate. You can generally find all of our stuff over at futureproofgames.com. We have a podcast that we release every 2 months. We have a newsletter that we release in the months in between. I think this is a newsletter month. So other than that, I don't think I have any other news. So we will see you in 2 weeks over on Gregory's channel with whatever they are playing. Cool. Everyone have a good weekend.